If you're an executive, a manager or team leader, you'll likely be aware of conversations you've needed to have with others to give them performance feedback. It's also likely you've avoided, looked away from, or skirted around those conversations. Here I outline a process through which you can talk about performance and other issues while helping keep everyone feeling safe. This is not a quick fix. You'll need to work at it, but you might be pleasantly surprised by the results you can achieve. The method we're introducing is the OBREAU conversation model, developed by yours truly, Don DeMoon. OBREAU is made up of the first two letters each of three crucial words: observation, reasonableness, and authenticity. OBREAU is a framework for supporting safe and productive interactions, dialogue, on virtually any uncomfortable topic, not just to do with performance. Performance issues refer to situations where an individual or group is not achieving what they're expected to by those in authority. There's a gap between what's expected for competent, effective performance in the role and what the person or group is actually delivering, achieving. Having conversations about performance-related topics is difficult with the fear and threat involved. How will the other party respond? How will I handle myself? These are tricky situations, and we all know it. One way that fear shows up is through most of us being caught up in three common default behaviour patterns: reacting, judging others negatively, and dancing around. We can think of these as like a set of gates, obstacles. We need to get past these gates if we're to have mutually safe and beneficial conversations for better performance. When we react, we respond immediately, without pausing to consider other possibilities. Examples might be someone saying things like, "That's not how you do it," or "What a silly idea," or even a group member suddenly going quiet in a meeting. When we judge others negatively, we see the party with the performance shortfall as the problem. We point the finger of blame and say to ourselves, and maybe to others we trust, things like, "They don't try hard enough. They're playing games. They're not a team player." When we dance around, we do anything but have the needed conversation. We might avoid the conversation altogether. We could soft pedal our concerns, such as through hinting about the issue or wrapping our misgivings in compliments. There are many possible ways to dance around. Whatever we're doing, we're not making plain our underlying concerns. The other party likely gets mixed messages, or at least unclear ones. Now let's turn to applying the three OBREAU practices: working from observation, attributing reasonableness, and speaking with authenticity. Each helps us get past one of the default behaviour patterns. And here's a key. The three practices are akin to the legs of a tripod. They're a super strong structure, if you pay attention to each practice. In preparing for a conversation, your work is to write down 4 or 5 dot points for each of the three OBREAU practices. You're not writing a script, you're just coming up with some points to guide you in the conversation. When we work from observation, we focus on identifying relevant and significant data points, things we can see and hear directly that are not interpretations or reactions. With performance issues, we can describe the gap between the expected performance and actual performance. We can get data for expected performance from things like job descriptions or competency requirements, and for the actual performance from observing what is being achieved. This is Sarah, a team leader. She says,
"One of my team members is not doing their full job."
That's an interpretation. There's no data. Sarah can make her concern observable by describing the gap between expected and actual performance. Sarah has another go. She says,
In their job description, the team members are expected to do 5 core duties routinely, and most do. The individual I have an issue with does only 3 of the 5 core duties regularly. She's busy, but with other non-core things.
Now we have some data, specifically the expected 5 core duties and the actual only 3 of them being done. Whatever you think about the performance you're describing, aim to hold your opinions back, at least for the moment. Your challenge with observation is to be able to make visible to the other party what's expected and what's being achieved. As well as describing actual performance against expectations, it's vital to be alert to and record other factors, potentially in the background, that might be impacting on performance. Examples could include changes in how work is organised, altered policies and procedures, or the availability of training. Think also about more personal factors that might be visible to the other party, if not readily to you. For instance, pressures they might be under, or changing relationships with their colleagues. As always with OBREAU, aim to describe any such factors with data to help make them clear and unambiguous to the others involved. We turn now to our second OBREAU practice, attributing reasonableness. Now, if we're to influence a person or group to improve their performance, we need to understand what's going on for them. With attributing reasonableness, we're seeking to shift perspectives, as it were to cross a bridge, to see things from their side. We're presuming that they have a way of making sense of the situation. It seems sensible, reasonable to them. Our purpose is to expand our understanding of the issue and take account of more of the complexity involved. One thing we're not doing is to ask, are they being reasonable? To do so would imply a risk of lapsing back into judgment. Once again, your work in preparing to speak is to record a few dot points, this time to help make sense of their likely perspective and reflect the reality they could perceive. Let's return to Sarah's example of the team member who is observably completing only 3 of the 5 core duties in their job description. How might the team member make sense of this? Maybe, for instance, they think the other things they do compensate for not doing some of the core duties. They might believe that the core duties are well covered by other team colleagues who like doing these tasks, or that they lack the know-how to do all the core duties. We can't know for sure what's going on, but these points can help us frame questions. A key, though, is that our points do not involve judgment. They are in line with the other party as reasonable now. Our third OBREAU practice is speaking with authenticity. Authenticity is what's true, genuine for you in this specific context, something more than your logical, head-level analysis. You're going beyond dancing around to share something from your heart, something that's ordinarily hard to say. You're stepping into a space that feels risky, exposed, vulnerable. Yet it's when we allow ourselves to go into this space that we can connect with others at a deeper, more human level. And that can be a great feeling, as well as potentially enabling relationships to shift in a positive way. Remember, OBREAU is a tripod, and authenticity requires that we use all 3 legs. First, with observation, and from the observations you identified earlier, which 1 or 2 are most important to you? In our example, let's say a critical observation for Sarah is that the team member is performing only 3 of the 5 expected core duties. Now, with the reasonableness leg, contemplate which point or points about the other party's likely story is most compelling to you. Let's take it that Sarah imagines the team member believes they are compensating in other ways for not doing all the core duties. Now that you've anchored your tripod with observation and reasonableness, we turn to authenticity. Ask what comes up for you, especially at a feeling heart level in response. Perhaps Sarah feels that when the team member does not do all their core duties, that puts additional strain on everyone else, and she's feeling pressure about that and wants change. There are probably other aspects that need talking about, but naming her dissatisfaction might be a key for Sarah in opening a conversation with a team member about how to make things better for each of them. Let's draw together the main themes we've covered. First, whatever the performance issue you need to talk about, recognise up front how you have likely reacted, judged others negatively, and danced around. To move past these default patterns, apply the 3 OBREAU practices. With working from observation, identify and capture 4 or 5 relevant data points, not interpretations, to describe the gap between expected and actual performance, and anything else that's relevant. With attributing reasonableness, shift perspectives and imagine what it looks like from their side without judgment. For speaking with authenticity, think about what's true for you at a personal level that you need to share. Remember, OBREAU is a tripod and your authentic speech needs all three legs in place. You can be as firm as you need to be in talking about performance issues. If you're grounded in observation and reasonableness, you can potentially share just about anything that's your truth. Thanks for watching, and to find out more about training and workshops on applying OBREAU to improve the quality of workplace conversation, or to contact me, visit betterworkconversations.com.